Hi guys, it's Baby Peach, and we're back again with episode 32 of Higurashi. Sorry. Okay, I just took a hit. We will maybe finish chapter 1 in this episode. We'll see. Don't worry, I already have chapters 2, 3, maybe 4 on Steam, so we're set for a while, guys. I got you. Okay, I squatted down for a bit. When I came back to my senses, my entire room had changed drastically. The numbness in my head was gone, and slowly I could tell blood was flowing to my extremities again. How long had I been squatting here? How many minutes? Or has it been hours? It was almost as if the hands on the clock had stopped moving the entire time my eyes were closed. That's how little time had passed. Really? The air in the room wasn't filled with that madness from before, only a dull silence. Reina wasn't there pinning my arms, and Mion wasn't there about to inject me with a needle. No way. Could it be? All of it was a hallucination? There was no other presence in the room besides my own. It was the weirdest experience I've ever had. I was certainly with Reina and Mion. I doubted my sanity for a moment, but I was also seized with a sort of comfort. I guess that terrible ordeal was a hallucination. Neither Reina nor Mion. They wouldn't ever do something so terrible. My head grew hot. I could tell my emotions were welling up. Why? That wasn't a reason to cry. Why? It was sorrow. Why was I sad? I don't understand. Kinda everyone. Not discriminating against age or gender. Mion. That Mion was sprawled by the window in an unnatural pose. Blood stained her a deep red from her head down to her chest. The bright crimson smeared on the walls. That splatter had undoubtedly came from Mion. She always had that bright smile and was kind to me from the day I transferred. Reina. That same Reina was slumped at my feet and was making the same pool of blood as Mion. I couldn't comprehend what had happened. Did someone come to save me? Then they beat those two down with this metal bat. I finally noticed the weight in my right hand. How long had it been there? It was Satoshi's metal bat. It was covered in a deep red. There was no doubt that this was the weapon used to mutilate both of them. And I was holding that weapon. I was the only person in the house. Looking at this objectively, I couldn't think of anyone other than myself who could have done it. I did this? That's right. Keiichi Maibara. Of course I did it. I told myself gently, as if coaxing myself. Hey me, there is no reason for you to remember it, nor is there a need to regret it. Eat or be eaten. You get that, don't you? But the blood, there's so much. Neither Reina nor Mion had moved an inch. It wasn't just a split forehead and a trickle of blood, nothing that simple. The entire room was splattered with red, and that told me it didn't end with just 2 or 3 strikes. Were they dead? Both of them? The depths of my mind were calm, but on the surface I was panicking and agitated. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. What happened to your usual calm self? Come on now. Do like you always do. Throw your head back and take a deep breath. Come on. Once. Twice. Breathe deeply. Calm down. I chanted that over and over in my head and relaxed. Color came back to my vision, and smells re-infused the air. At the same time, I remembered what happened when I blacked out. Reina and Mion had attacked me. They were about to inject me with whatever had caused the same symptoms as Tomotaki-san, but right before that happened, I fought back. I twisted my whole body and threw Reina as she was pinning my arms. Then I followed through with my spin and rammed my foot as hard as I could into Mion's torso. It was soft. Reina tried jumping on me, so I tackled her as hard as I could and slammed her against the wall. I didn't let that brief moment of having them off balance slip by. Satoshi's bat, that was left carelessly by the side of my desk. Bleep. At that moment, everything went pitch black. There was nothing recorded past this point in the videotape of my mind. No, that wasn't right. It wasn't that there was nothing recorded. It was recorded just fine. Just the other me, inside myself, had told me not to look and had turned off the TV. Just because the screen had gone black and I couldn't see it, didn't mean that the videotape within me hadn't recorded it. The TV was just off. The video was still playing. The tape within me, creaking along, still playing. On the other end of that pitch black screen, that horrifying video was still playing on. Compared to this, though, the scene right before my eyes, was still so difficult to take in. There was blood splattered everywhere on the walls, and the two of them in these unnatural poses. Not a sign of movement from them. I couldn't tell if they were breathing. No matter what the circumstances were, my friends, these girls, I had attacked them. I may have even killed them. But if I hadn't done this, I would have been the one done for. Balancing that out on an imaginary scale, it felt odd that I'd even feel bad about it. Even if it was a bit excessive, this was justifiable self-defense. The proof was all there. The two of them collapsed here in Mion's syringe. Mion's syringe full of some unknown drug would certainly solve the mystery surrounding the incident with Tomotaki-san. And from the fact that both of these two were involved, they'd be able to pick out the criminals one after the other. Still, I might be suspected for this, but that was just fine. Anyway, now, this should be a police affair. This wouldn't fade into the darkness like Reina's past incidents. As long as the police were involved, this should bring this to a close. They'll probably revisit their investigation on the chain of incidents. Oishi-san would definitely get to the bottom of it. Meaning my wish. Of not wanting to die, of wanting to know the truth, that would be fulfilled in its most basic form. It was all a matter of time now. The doctor Reina had called should be getting here soon. I'll confess everything to him. I needed to contact Oishi-san. At that moment I remembered, besides the doctor, a manager had been called. It was easy to imagine that they were someone deeply involved with the incidents, judging from Reina and Mion's conversation. The ache in my chest caused by the gruesome deed undone dissipated rapidly. I was not over yet. This place was no longer safe. Stay calm, Keiichi Maibara. It's not over yet. I needed to live long enough to tell the police of this incident. At that moment, I felt like I heard someone's voice from outside. Since people were speaking, it must mean there was more than one person. I moved the curtain ever so slightly and peered outside. It was a bizarre sight. About 4 or 5 grown men were all gathered at the gate. They very much resembled the 2 men who had assaulted me at the dam site today. Those 2 might even be among them. There was one person there wearing a white coat, but he didn't look like the doctor at all. My gut told me he was in disguise, only posing as a doctor. That guy would probably ring the bell and get me to open the front door. Pretend to be a doctor to get me to open the door, and then the rest would be all rush in at once. At that moment, I saw the car parked behind the men, and my heart nearly skipped a beat. The white van. No mistaking it. That van, the one that had tried to run me down? The man in the white coat entered the gate and headed towards the front door. The rest of the men hid in the bushes and watched him. I probably couldn't pretend that I wasn't home. Undoubtedly, they'd just break the window and enter. I needed to get out of here somehow, then use a public phone to contact Oishi-san, then meet up somewhere. First of all, I need a weapon, then shoes. But before all that, there was one thing that I had to do. I had no intention of dying. I'd live and reveal the truth about this nonsensical curse of Oyashiro-sama. But what happened from here on, regardless of how determined I was, may bring about my demise. And that was why. There was one thing more important than getting out of here right now. I need to get that clock out quickly and take down the note hidden behind it. Damn it. That tape was sticking to it fast. It'd be fine if it was torn a little. I opened up a slightly torn note and began writing another passage with a ballpoint pen. If I wasn't able to inform Oishi-san, then the only thing I could rely on was this note. I'd never thought a piece of torn college rolled notebook paper could be this reliable before. I had no time. I'd only write what I knew right now. I needed to leave some sort of information that would lead them to uncover the truth. Reina and Mion on conspirators of the perpetrators. This was an undeniable fact. I still don't want to believe it, but it was a fact. Anyway, I'd leave all the information that would help lead them to finding the perpetrators. There were 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They had a white van. This was everything I was able to see from the window. There may be more. Also, there was an unidentified person known as the manager. To begin with, the term manager didn't even mesh with Hinamizawa at all. If they were going to include the managers from the past incidents, then the only one is the construction foreman, the victim from the first murder, the very first victim in the chain of incidents. Killed in a lynching, his body divided into 6 pieces. His right arm was never discovered. The police should have confirmed that death, but Reina and Mion did both call him manager. They said manager. They wouldn't use the term to refer to someone who is dead. The police would never even convince that someone who is deceased should be involved. Could that be some sort of oversight? I didn't know. But even if I didn't know, it could be a big hint for Oishi-san. That's right. They needed to start fresh from the first incident. It wasn't just a simple dismemberment, but the start of the string of mysterious deaths that would follow. So then, there must be something hidden there. Please reinvestigate the victim from the dismemberment incident. He's alive. His death should have been established after an autopsy. Logically, you would think as much. But was that really the case? Could it have been some sort of ploy that they were able to deceive the police with? I shouldn't jump to conclusions, but he may still be alive. I had no time to ponder that right now. Oh yeah, there's something even more important I needed to write. Tomotaki's death was from an unknown drug. That's right, that drug. It was an irreplaceable piece of evidence. No doubt, just by having this, everything would be uncovered. I couldn't just leave the vital clue lying on the floor. The syringe is proof. Writing that down, I stuck the syringe on the back of the clock with plenty of tape, so it absolutely would not slip out and fall to the floor. Firmly. Ding dong. The bell rang. They were here. I couldn't write anymore. But even still, there was one last thing that I had to write. I have no idea why it has become like this. This may be the closest thing to the truth out of everything I wrote on this note. If you are reading this, then I am probably already dead, though you may or may not find my body. If I was going to write out everything that could happen, either dying from this curse or being demoned away, you who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. With this, my last will and testament was complete. It wasn't certain that I was going to die, but it was my final plea, just in case. I folded the note, stuck it back onto the back of the clock, and returned the clock back to its usual spot. I couldn't help but pray, Oishi-san, if something happens to me, I leave the rest to you. After that, I gazed down silently at Reina and Mion. This was probably the last time we'd ever see each other, Reina, Mion. I really had thought all of us were friends. But why did it end up like this? I never had any fun in my previous school. I only worried about standardized test scores, about if the school I hoped to get into was where I really wanted to go, or a safety net. That was all I talked about. It was a dull life. The people I called friends were also my rivals in studying and competitions and personal records and standardized test scores. Everyone here taught me how unhealthy that lifestyle was. This month was really fun. Making a fuss over lunch, making a fuss over a club, making a fuss over the festival. Something hot began dripping out from my face, uncontrollable tears. I should have had no obligation to shed tears for them, but they wouldn't stop, even if they were after my life. Even if they were trying to kill me. Everything that happened this month, I wouldn't forget it. Or could it be those happy days for all a facade as well? Was it all a trap meticulously orchestrated up until today to ensnare me? Could it have been that I had just arbitrarily assumed that they were all my friends? That couldn't have been the case. Both Reina and Mion, they really were my friends. Those happy days, those were nothing fake or unclear about them. Someone probably forced them to try to kill me. Or their minds were taken over, possessed by a supernatural entity known as Oyashiro-sama. Regardless, both Reina and Mion, they were the best friends ever. And when they were coming after me, it wasn't of their own violation. Wait, they weren't the kind of people to sell off their friends, regardless of whether or not they were forced. There's no way such a thing like being possessed by Oyashiro-sama could happen in reality. Then did the real Reina and Mion come after me? What was I thinking? What a silly dumb idea. Having beaten down both Reina and Mion, I was still debating if they were the real ones or fakes. There was no real or fake, only the reality that was before me. Reina and Mion were sprawled out at my feet. That was the only truth. I was only trying to twist the facts to my benefit that I had beaten my friends to death. No matter how I spun it, it wouldn't change reality. Reina and Mion were both dead. It felt like there was a crack in the dam of strange emotions I was holding back. It felt like my calm state, which was nothing more than a bluff, had receded, and in that opening, insanity was leaking out. I killed them. Reina and Mion, I killed them. The doorbell rang again. The unrelenting echo pulled me back into a state of composure once again. I didn't have a moment to spare. Quickly, I needed to get away. I didn't want to die. I would uncover everything after that. The identity of whoever or whatever had pushed me this far. Even if I had to drink mud and eat grass, I would survive. I would definitely survive. I killed Reina for that very reason. I also killed Mion. I went that far just to keep living, so I can't die. For my sake and for the sake of the late Reina and Mion, I have to survive. I ran towards the door and grabbed my shoes. The doorbell rang again, as if to urge me on. Behind the single, solitary door, they were there. Keeping quiet, I headed towards the kitchen. Headed towards the back door. Before opening the back door, I put my ear to it and checked for people outside. No one. After I put on my shoes, I opened the door slowly, so as if not to make a sound. There he is, the back door. A piercing voice echoed out. That voice stabbed through me, setting my hair on end. I had to run. Get out of here, Keiichi. One after the other, I felt stuff like rationale and intelligence, those things you use when you have time to spare, spill out of me. I didn't feel any pain from the branches scratching my arms and forehead. My autonomously pulsing heart also felt neither fatigue nor pain. My entire being just wished to live. There was nothing else it desired. It probably had no complaints whatsoever, so of course I wouldn't feel fatigue. I just ran, just recklessly rushing in the direction I was already heading. Even if nobody was chasing after me, I'd still be running like this. There wasn't a thought in my mind about where I was headed. Turning around, I felt a presence right next to me. That presence was, without a doubt, chasing me like a shadow. If I took even one misstep, I would be devoured. That's what I thought, so I didn't turn around. I didn't stop. I ran at full speed. Ha 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 ha. That was the chirping of the higurashi telling me it was evening, trying to tell me something, and then I finally heard it. The wailing cry of the victims who didn't make it. Would I be joining them? Only the higurashi knew. They knew everything. They definitely knew. So I ran towards where I could hear more of the higurashi's chirps. But the farther I ran, the farther away their chirping became. I couldn't get near them. Why are you all running away? Was it my fault? Was I the one to blame? Then I'll apologize. I'm sorry. 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 I felt that only the higurashi knew. Okay, guys, we're actually gonna end this episode here, I think. And we'll finish the next one in the next episode. See you then. Bye.